on our tracks. Bravely we prove in our striving, trudging together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Good morning, my fellow trudgers. Trudge together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way. Been a while since I told everybody about this. The theme song was written by my niece like 5 years ago. Probably has it been that long? That song is written, performed, everything. She did everything. The only thing I did was put her in a recording studio. Smitty's recording studio. Good friends of mine, musicians, and turned out really well. Very proud of her. She's got a lot of musical talent. Good morning, Michelle. It's good to see you. Saturday, I don't get as many people on Saturdays. This is a day that, we AAers, when it comes to Saturday and Sunday, a lot of us go out and, be a part of the neighborhood, do things. My goal on weekends is not to spend as much time behind my computer anymore. So I go do other stuff. Seems like when I get behind here, I don't get other stuff done. So on some days, I'm just not going to be by my computer as much. This is where I spend most of my time. And I'm going to change that. I think I just got into a rut with it, right? So just recognizing that maybe we need to do something a little different. It's 11:11, by the way. All right, we're going to be in the 12 steps and 12 traditions on page 65. I got a feeling it's going to be step 6. Since it's the 6th month and we're in look at that, step 6. Give me a second here. My ears are ringing. It'll go away in a second. All right. No, it's not tinnitus. It is not tinnitus. It's not a constant ringing. That's how you kind of know. So I'm going to open up the window. Oh, it's nice out. Get some air in here. Oh, that's not the way I wanted it to go. There we go. Window's got 2 settings, which is kind of cool. There's one setting where it opens the door, and the other setting kind of what it does is it just opens the top so you can get some air in without necessarily opening the whole window because there's no screen on it. That's our escape window. You may not be able to see. Yeah, you can kind of see it. See how there's a ladder? Yeah. So if there's a fire we need to get out, that's where we can go if there's some kind of emergency or something. All right. So I'm surprised the cat hasn't jumped in there yet. I don't think they know. They're all up in the sunroom. Let's get started this morning. Welcome to Daily Trudge. My name is Dion. I'll be your host. If you're here, please say hello, whether you're watching the live or the rewatch. Sounds like my neighbors are out there with a weed eater. After I do this, I'm going to go mow my lawn. Now that it's not raining, it's been raining for like 2 weeks straight. My grass is very, very green though. All right. I'm working hard on the yard, make it look a little better. The landlord stopped by yesterday. We had a little flood. We were taking care of that, and they didn't say anything, so the yard must look good. No news is good, bad. No news is good news when it comes to the landlord. All right. They were going to pay for somebody to continue taking care of it. It would have been part of our rent, but I told them, now give us things that we, We'll take care of it. Yeah. Yeah, the yard doesn't look as good when somebody else does it. If that makes sense. Because then when I mow it, there's a sense of accomplishment. And then I get to look at it and go, see what I did? Look what I did. Yeah. Is it really the guy? No, it's just that sense of accomplishment. It's a success for the day. See? All right. So we're going to start on page 64 in the 12 by 12 for anybody that would like to follow along. Second, let's just start at the top of the page. Why not? In AA meetings all over the world, statements just like these are heard daily. But what's the statement? The statement is that God removed their obsession to drink. That's what they're talking about. Okay, so in AA meetings all over the world, statements just like these are heard daily. It's plain for everybody to see that each sober AA member has been granted a release from this very obstinate and potentially fatal obsession. So, in a very complete and literal way, all AAs have become entirely ready to God remove the mania for alcohol from their lives, and God has proceeded to do exactly that. Now, why are they bringing that up? Because step 6 is we're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. Okay? So, if you're like, so what they're saying is, if you think you're not entirely ready, you already did it. You already kind of did it in step 1. Right? We're entirely ready equals the gift of desperation. You already did it. That's what they're trying to say. If your obsession's been lifted, then you've already been through this, which means you can do it again. There you go. See? That's what's weird about AA. By the time you get to the step, we've prepared you for it. We've set you up to succeed. Step 6 is the Karate Kid step. Okay? Doesn't matter how old you are. Everybody knows Karate Kid. Okay, whether they saw the Ralph Macchio one or the Jackie Chan one, or okay, doesn't matter. All right, the kid sooner or later gets frustrated. I've been waxing your cars. I've been sanding your decks. I've been picking up my coat and putting it back and putting it on and okay. And I'm getting pretty and AA is a lot like that, where we're teaching you things, but you don't know. You don't know that we're teaching you. You're not sure quite what you're learning, okay? Because you won't know until you put it to practical use. So one day, it's one of the promises, we will suddenly realize that God is doing for us what we could not do for ourselves. There's another one that we know how to intuitively solve the problem. Welcome to Karate Kid. One day your sponsor is going to ask you to wax on, and you're going to do it automatically. What are we working with here? Muscle memory. We are working with muscle memory. And the more you practice or work that muscle, the better it's going to get, the more you will use it. All right. Having been granted a perfect release from alcoholism, why then shouldn't we be able to achieve the same means, a perfect release from every other difficulty or defect? This is the riddle of our existence, a full answer to which may be only in the mind of God. Nevertheless, at least a part of the answer to it is apparent to us. Here's the thing. My defects aren't necessarily gone. If we were to say defects, but is my anger still a defect? No, it's not. No, it is. My anger is no longer a defect. As long as I utilize it for something constructive, it is not a defect. If I utilize it to do something good, then it's not a character defect. It's now an asset. It's about turning these liabilities into assets. Now, why was the obsession lifted? Because that can never be an asset. It'll never be an asset. Okay? Now, we got other steps to help us get through this, all right? So, let's get moving on here because we're here to talk about long-term hope, not kind of this stuff. So when men and women pour so much alcohol into themselves that they destroy their lives, they commit an almost unnatural act. Here's the unnatural act: suicide. This is what they're talking about here. They'll say it at the very end. That's how I know. Okay. Drinking is suicide on the installment plan. We know because in the big book, we admit that it's injurious, but we can't seem to differentiate the true from the false. There's our key. That's our key right there. Okay. So we're committing suicide on the installment plan when we drink. When you knowingly do something to your body over and over again, knowing it's injurious. Yeah. Defying their instincts, desire for self-preservation, they seem bent upon self-destruction. It's unfortunate, but we alcoholics feel like we need to go out with a bang. All right. They work against their own deepest instinct as they are humbled by the terrific beating administered by alcohol. The grace of God can enter and expel their obsession. Here, their most powerful instinct to live can cooperate fully with their Creator's desire to give them new life. For nature and God alike abhor suicide. Those are pretty strong words. And I'm going to tell you something. I don't agree with them. I don't agree with that. That feels a little too Catholic or Christian-y to me. That if you commit suicide, okay? Maybe it's my finite mind. Maybe it's my finite mind. I don't know. But I refuse to believe that Robin Williams didn't go to heaven. What? No. No way. No fucking way. I don't believe it. Sorry. So, I don't agree with that. You don't need to agree with everything. That's a statement. It's an opinion by Bill. I'm surprised nobody redlined that line, honestly. All right. Because it gets a little all right. But most of our other difficulties don't fall under such category. Every normal person wants, for example, to eat, to reproduce, to be somebody in society of his fellows, and he wishes to be reasonably safe and secure as he tries to attain these things. Indeed, God made him that way. He did not design man to destroy himself by alcohol, but he did give man instincts to help him stay alive. I think fear is. See a big old 50-foot wave coming towards you. Do you sit there and pick your nose? No, you turn around and you run. You run for your dear life. Right? Yeah. That's an instinct. Michelle says, I'm with you on that. Suicide does not equal hell. It is nowhere evident, at least in this life, that our Creator expects us to fully eliminate our instinctual drives. So far as we know, it is nowhere on the record that God is completely removed from any human being his natural drives. See, how can your natural drives be removed? They won't. Or what you will do is go walk around in traffic. If you didn't have an instinct to stay alive for preservation, you ever seen a spider? Right? It sees you and it starts to book it. It hides from you. That is a natural instinct for preservation. It is in every animal. It's in everything. Everything has an instinct to eat, to procreate, and to stay alive. Every single animal in the world. All right. Here's the problem. We alcoholics are extremists, so we take these instincts to the extreme, and that's the problem. That's That right there is the character defect it's the extreme of it. Okay. Anger is not a character defect. Depression, self-pity, those, so all that stuff, they aren't character defects unless you turn them into character defects. It is your action that counts. So in a sense, the defects have not been removed, they've been changed to the right thing. It's as simple as that. Right. Since most of us are born with an abundance of natural desires, it isn't strange. It isn't strange that we often let these far exceed their intended purpose. When they drive us blindly, or we willfully demand that they supply us with more satisfactions or pleasure than are possible or due us, that is the point at which we depart from the degree of perfection that God wishes for us here on earth. That is the measure of our character defects, or if you wish, our sins. I don't know why they put the sins there either. A little too Catholicly there. I would, I don't agree with everything Bill says, but if you Bill bash in front of me, you're gonna have a problem. There's got to be a level of respect for what the man had to do for us. There has to be a level of respect. Okay, that doesn't mean I have to agree with everything he says. This program is about taking what you need and leaving the rest. The whole program is about that. Michelle and I just did that. We were like, well, we don't agree with that, but we can see how the rest of this is kind of see. Otherwise, my old character defect, what it would do, it was just zone in on that one line that I don't like. But we didn't do that, so it didn't become a character defect. Ta-da! See? I hope that makes sense. It makes sense in my head. This is why I say don't listen to just me. There's a lot of other people out there talking good stuff, man. You're going to be hard pressed to find them. I have found a few. Happy to pass them on. If we ask, God will certainly forgive our derelictions. Now, I want you to listen to this whole line. But in no case does he render us white as snow and keep us that way without our cooperation. There's a cooperation here. Oh, I'll never be white as snow. That's not what it says. Well, you're right. If you say I'll never be white as snow, then you are correct. Then that's what'll happen, because you're making the statement. If that's what you want, that's what you want. I'll never be perfect. We got to get out of the whole I'll never be perfect. Okay. Yes, we know that. Everybody fucking knows that. We've got to move beyond that. Perfection is not about being perfect. It is an ideal to strive for. And step 6 is about perfection. God's perfection, not ours. Striving towards an ideal that's better than what you got. That is how your character defects change from being abusive to being it's a difference between, well, we'll just use between manipulating and being abusive to understanding and empathy. It changes that. See, we had to have a different way of thinking. People say AA brainwashes you. Correct. That one's correct. I needed it. You know what CBT is? Cognitive behavioral therapy. AA is CBT. It's brainwashing, but not the brainwashing you're thinking. Okay, brainwashing is just a different set of ideals. In this case, that's what it would be. Right? But instead of calling it brainwashing, we call it CBT. We call it other things because brainwashing it. But I like taking something that should be offensive and be like, no, you're right. That is what we do. Do you know how I was acting? Yeah, I was acting pretty bad. I needed to change. I needed a good brain scrubbing. Put it in one of those golf ball cleaners and clean that motherfucker. All right. So that is something we are supposed to be willing to work towards ourselves. He asks that we only try the best we know how to make progress in the building of character. That's it. Just try. Do the best that you can each day. That's all that's required. Okay? But he does not render us white as snow and keep us that way without our cooperation. But isn't white as snow perfection? No, it is not. Let's find out what it means. What does the phrase white as snow mean? Not white. Mighty white of you. What does the whitest whites mean? Yeah, this is. What is the meaning? Okay, did I phrase? Oh, whitest. Oh, it didn't even. It didn't even do it right. It took it as very racial, like whitey. Yo, I think I saw the word cracker. What does the phrase white as snow mean? The phrase white as snow is a simile that something is extremely white or pale to the cut. No, that is not what we're looking for. What is the literal meaning? There we go. Pure, innocent, or unblemished. There we go. It does not mean perfection. White as snow does not mean perfection. The phrase white as snow is a simile that describes something as pure, innocent, or unblemished. This expression often involves images of fresh, untouched snow, which is commonly associated with cleanliness, because we're clean now, and simplicity. So white as snow means simplicity. It means pure. It means your intentions are good. It means that you're thinking of other people. There we go. That you are. So now you can be white as snow and not worry about it, huh? There we go. Just gotta look this shit up. Oh, need no plain English big book. There is no plain. The big book's already written in plain English. It's written in lazy English. That we should call it the lazy English big book. The big book for the millennial who doesn't know how to look shit up. See, Gen X is a little different. If we didn't try ourselves first, you got a beating. Well, did you go look it up in the encyclopedias? Did you go to the library? Did you do this? See, we used to have to go out of our way to find the answer. Nowadays, you can just do it at your fingertips. Oh, who sings that song? Who sings that song? You'd have to call the radio station and hope that you get the DJ and that the DJ doesn't put you on air and make fun of you. All right. Step 6, we're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of characters. AA's way of stating that the best possible attitude one can take in order to make a beginning on this lifetime job. So the best possible attitude. There you go. But if you're not reaching for perfection, you can't have the best possible attitude. You can't. You got to reach for that perfection. Right? This does not mean that we expect all of our character defects to be lifted out of us as the drive to drink was. A few of them may be, but with most of them, we shall have to be content with patient improvement. So it just improves. The key words entirely ready underline the fact that we want to aim at the very best we know or can learn. I felt sorry for anybody that missed this one. This one has been good. This is definitely a rewatch. All right, let's get to Let's get to the daily reflection reading. This is in the reading. It says it was the part where, since most of us are born with an abundance of natural desires, it isn't strange that we often let it far exceed their intended purpose, right? And this person had to say, this is where long-term hope is born and perspective is gained. Yeah. A lot of things have happened up till step 6. A lot of things. Right? At 4 and 5. Right? And perspective. See, we've taken a deep dive into what our lives were. We got down to causes and conditions. And because we did that, we now have a new perspective on life, both of the nature of my illness and the path of my recovery. The beauty of AA lies in knowing that my life, with God's help, will improve. The AA journey becomes richer, the understanding becomes truth, and dreams become realities, and today becomes forever. As I step into the AA light, my heart fills with the presence of God. All right. Good stuff. All right, that's going to be it for this one. I appreciate everybody being here. That being Michelle. Thanks for hanging out. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I appreciate it. I love you. You know I do. Peace out.